welcome back to another Inside Texas Live, Thursday Night Live with Michelle and Nash. Big news, guys. We just learned that Parker Livingston has indeed made his made his intentions clear that he will be entering the transfer portal. We will talk about that. We will talk about Texas and Michigan and further portal talk. We'll get into all of it. But real quick, guys, go ahead and hop on over to Inside Texas, the transfer portal 50% off bundle, the ultimate fan bundle. Yeah, I mean, obviously a really good time to be a part of the board. Come join our community, guys. All of the portal news, all of the team news, coaching news. Chris Jackson just extended today or signed to a new contract today. So yeah, take advantage of that right now. That's $120 value for half off. Come and join us at Inside Texas and be a part of what we're doing over there. Michelle, Nash, before we get into it, how are you guys? Hope you've both had a great start to your 2026.
Feeling the cheesiest.
I want to spend the $25 after yesterday on the Michigan and the Texas box. I really wanted to, but man,
they got me.
They got me.
They got me. Oh no!
He's gone.
Cord mentioned $25. Yes, they did get me. That box will never be open though. I'm not opening that box. That box
a lifetime souvenir.
Mint condition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to hold on to that one. We got a lot of popping in the comments already. Parker Livingston is gone. Must mean Sark is definitely getting 2 receivers in the portal. Hey, I think we're right there. I said that on the rewatch show earlier today with Ian and Connor. I think we got to have multiple bodies there, and that was before the Parker news. First things first, you guys, your initial reaction to Parker going to the portal. Whoever wants to take that. I know if emotionally it is kind of tough.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you go ahead, Nash.
No, you go.
I was gonna say it caught me a little off guard just because I know they always talk about Arch and Parker, our roommates, things like that, and he seems so passionate about Texas football. But at the same time, it kind of lets me know Texas has a pretty aggressive plan. So for me, it sort of piqued my interest of just knowing what's going to happen tomorrow.
How about you, Nash?
Yeah. I mean, it sucks for Arch Manning to lose one of his many roommates that he has. I love the roommate talk that always gets put around that. Like Arch Manning has like 6 different roommates. But I think that when you're looking at this, it's just we'll probably dive further into it. But there were balls that needed to be caught and they weren't. And it just, I mean, I think that this is one of those moves that's like, hey, you're welcome to come back, but you're going to have a lot more. You're going to have a lot less of a role than you did this last year. And if you want to be a starter, probably head somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I mean, I feel like Parker definitely loved Texas. Texas fans love Parker. Wouldn't shock me at all, if he is still mostly wanting to be a part of things, but and not to be cruel or anything, but business is business. And at the end of the day, a couple of like Nash was talking about, you got to catch the football. And again, you got to wonder if Texas can get a little bit more athletic there and be a little bit more shorthanded there. And this is the hard part. KJ brings it up. Thanks for watching again, KJ. But sucks that his last game at Burnt Orange was not his best outing. He had the drop on the deep ball, which I still haven't seen all of the all-22 yet. I've only watched a quarter. Couldn't really tell if that was on him. Again, it looked like a tough play either way, but then he did have a bad drop. I believe it was in the red zone or pretty near the red zone.
Yeah, it was in the red zone.
And so he's not and again, love the kid, not a tremendous blocker, struggling to catch the football. As Michelle said, something seems to be, in the works. Texas is going to spend some money, in the transfer portal at that specific position. And so, yeah, I like your takes. I'm very curious to see what indeed Texas and Sark have cooked up there or what they have cooked up down the line. But, yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think. I mean, it's got kind of a mixed reaction here. I mean, like we said, emotionally, it hurts a little bit because, we all root for the kid. And this is just part of the new era, part of modern college football. This is going to happen. For fans. I know it can be difficult because you've watched this kid, you follow the recruitments, you've seen him play in Burnt Orange, you've seen him flash the horns up in front of 105,000 people. Texas wants to be, I'm not saying we want to be Indiana, but man, what they're doing is super impressive. you got to treat it like a business now. And so this does feel like a little bit of an all-in, just another domino towards, the all-in move that we might be making there. So can't be average, man. You got to help out Arch Manning. We talked about that as well today. You have to improve this position group. You have to have guys that are reliable. And again, Parker had a pretty hot start to the year. But what, didn't really do too much there towards the end of conference play. But we do have a lot to talk about tonight. We have talked about Parker for just a minute, but do you guys in the comments, or Michelle, Nash, any other, further takes, comments, thoughts, concerns about Parker and the portal?
I think this move is just another sign of sort of how aggressive and all in Texas is going for 2026. And I think Eric, he's talked a lot about how, everybody's definition of all in is different, but with the PK move, that was stunning. But then it's like they brought in Coach Boom, and you're like, okay, I get it. You need to be more aggressive and physical in the SEC. PK's scheme maybe wasn't designed for that. And then with Parker leaving, like you said, in the non-conference play, he was lights out, one of our best players. But then once we reached SEC play, had a little bit less of an impact. So it's kind of like, look, we know we can beat these teams. We need to get to the next level. And so to me, this type of move signifies that they've got somebody to help them reach that next level, hopefully.
Yeah. I think that this is just kind of this is letting us know where we're at in college football. I mean, I would recommend people stop following recruiting. just don't pay attention to it and wait till they sign. And then when they sign, cool. Because, I mean, at this point, if a kid signs on your team, you don't even know if he's going to be there after the spring portal window opens. Mm-hmm. Gone are the like. It reminds me of when Colin Johnson said, you commit to schools, not coaches. That doesn't happen anymore. If you commit to a school, you're not really doing yourself a service as a player. But it's just like you said, Cord, this is a business, and the business has to run. And I mean, it sucks. I mean, Parker's a really nice guy, Longhorn, like all the things that you would want for a guy to go out there and be a stud in, but we need that performance to come through on the field.
I gotta say, man, I'm dying over here at my guy Girth Gervin. Couple of comments about our guy Cam Coleman, who is in the portal. We will talk about him. Couple of different comments. He's on a roll over there. We would love for Cam Coleman to be in burnt orange, but you have to make sure that it comes at the right price. Mm-hmm. Or do you not? Do you two think that Texas? We won't pretend like everybody has a limit on what we can do here, and you have to pay attention to the interior of the offensive line. You have to pay attention to the running back room. You have to pay attention to the linebacker depth, D-line depth. So there's plenty of other, spots where Texas can spend money in the portal right now. Is there a limit that we should look at in y'all's opinions and comments, chat? I want your comments as well, that Texas needs to put forward in their pursuit of Cam Coleman.
I don't know about a set monetary value, but I would say this. If we have a chance to go out there and get a stud and then get on behind him a Danny Scudero, if Cam Coleman prevents us from getting the Danny Scudero as the second, the guy that's going to come in right behind them, kind of like an Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, yeah, I don't want to put all my eggs into one basket, because what happens if that one basket gets hurt, gets injured? I mean, we're in an era also in football where we've kind of maxed out the capacity of our human bodies, the strength and conditioning. It's hit its limit, and we're starting to see more injuries pop up. So I don't want to put all of my eggs in one basket. Get as many studs as you can. And I mean, honestly, if you look at it too, this is kind of like how the NFL treats it. You got your studs, these dudes are these studs, right? We're going to pay them a lot of money, and then everybody else is dime a dozen.
No, I definitely, I felt that way. I've said that in fantasy football for such a long time. Your studs are your studs, and then after that next tier, dime a dozen.
Studs and duds.
Josh, I really appreciate you, the super chat. I hope you know what's coming, because I know what you think is coming, and I truly do hope it is a young man that, is in the current portal right now. And speaking of other guys in the current portal, some that used to wear burnt orange, Jonte Cook in the portal again. I will say, it seems like Jonte is getting his situation together more and more, and I'm definitely continuing to root for that part, that that trend line to continue. Would be shocked if you ever saw Jonte in burnt orange again. I'm just gonna go with that. But I know that there are some people already
Holding out hope.
Oh, absolutely.
Stop all the recruiting. Get rid of the recruiting. We develop emotional connections with these players.
Absolutely. Mosley, we got to have Emmett back. I mean, Emmett, again, we need to have him healthy. But yeah, I know it hurts, Evan. It does. I get it. And that's this part where it's a little bit exciting because that Texas is working to improve in that position and in that position group in particular. But you get a little bit of attached, and we remember the commitment video, and we know the brothers, and we've seen their vlogging of this game day experience.
This commitment video.
I didn't even think of that. Oh, that's so sad.
I mean, but at the same time, you cannot get emotionally connected to things and let that steer your decision making, and
right.
you have to do what's best for the team. And then also, I mean, I don't know if everybody watched what I watched. You got to do what's best for Arch Manning because you got to get that brother some help.
You do not have guys like an Arch Manning, and with all due respect to Quinn, like I'm not making that comparison, but like we didn't have another guy like Arch since like Vince. Again, whoever said in the comments, it's a generational talent. You turn over every damn rock and make sure that you present the best product possible, because he can elevate guys around him. We saw what he's done this year with an offensive line that has had many, many struggles. Again, they picked it up down the end of the year a little bit. We'll credit them for that. But yeah, I mean, we will get better, in my opinion. I don't think that we let things like this happen. And again, it kind of parrots the video that I posted on Twitter about the Trey Weisner news and what I thought that meant. And it was just basically that, I think Sark is up to something and has a pretty good grasp on what that room could look like next year. So still, a portal's not officially open, so it's a little bit hard to know. But let's not all pretend like, there are not things going on. We all know how the game is. All right. So agreed with most of you guys in the comments saying, hey, it seems like we're putting forth our best foot to go win and win right now. But yeah, I mean, Texas still needs help at running back, obviously. We're talking about wide receivers and finding a true wide receiver number one. You watch Indiana, you watch Miami, physical, nasty ground games. Not that Miami is going to like explode and just absolute wow you on the ground, but they pick up enough yards to where you have to respect, in between the tackles. And I mean, that Fletcher cat runs hard. He runs really dang hard, really tough to bring down and to keep from falling forward 2 or 3, 4 yards. He's done that multiple times in their 2 playoff wins so far. Texas has to get nastier in the interior. Okay. And that is where you're going to see this come to fruition. So I'm going to play a game with you guys. All right. You're allotted a budget. All right, to go spend on the portal. We're not going to talk about dollar amount because I'm not going to pretend like I know what that budget would look like.
Nobody knows.
We're going to play a game with you two. So you've got, we're going to break it down by percentages. Offensive budget, what percentage of your budget would you spend and where would you spend it? So it would be, a third of your budget is going towards the interior of the offensive line. It's half your budget going towards a potential Cam Coleman. And I want to know what you guys in the comments think as well. Please let us know. How would you divvy that up? Obviously, we know what kind of names are out there in the running back position. Isaac Brown is a guy that seems to, be gaining a lot of interest from Texas. Definitely a guy that, the fans seem to be fond of. But what would y'all do? How does your budget look like if you were Sarkisian in Texas?
Well, I think the good thing is interior offensive linemen. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're also not the most expensive position. So I don't think you have to allocate as much of the budget on there as you would think, even though to me, that's our number one need over everything. But I'd say definitely you need to invest very heavily in somebody in the wide receiver room, just because to me, when you have a game changer at wide receiver that's as speedy as an Xavier Worthy or as physical as AD Mitchell was, it opens up the way for the run game because they have to respect that. And so I just feel like I'm willing to allocate a good portion of the budget to somebody like a Cam Coleman who's in the portal. And who knows, there might be even more wide receivers who enter who are just as good and maybe slightly differing price because maybe they don't have the same like flashy name, because Cam Coleman is somebody we've been talking about entering the portal since Hugh Freeze was fired. So I don't know. I would allocate a lot of the budget to wide receiver because I think now it's definitely a need. I loved what I saw from Christian Clark in the game. And while we definitely still need one or two guys, like I just feel more confident about that room overall, knowing Derek Cooper is also entering. So like I'm a kind of break the bank for Cam Coleman and make everything else work type of gal, but I don't know. That's just me.
I like it. How about you, Nash?
What my answer is going to assume that we have Trevor Gooseby back and we got Baker. Okay. So we got our two bookend tackles, right?
Right.
I'm going and saying, look, leftover money. So 100% of leftover budget that we're going to go, attacking the portal in. Give me 50% of that budget up on the front guys. I want 4 front guys that they can either move around, cross train, whatever. Spend 50% of the money there because games are won and lost in the trenches, right? It's just that's the old adage, and it comes. Look at Indiana, look at all these other teams at Miami that they're dominating on the line. That you win games in the trenches, you open up holes for the running backs, right? Then I would go and I'd say, hey, 15% of that, the rest of the money, Jaden Ball, 15% of the rest of the money to a wide receiver, Cam Coleman, whoever it is. Then the rest of that 30% can go, or 20% can go to whoever, right? Just divvy that up to go get as many guys that you think, okay, yeah, there's some things that we've seen on the tape. There's some things that we like. There's things there. They may not be as expensive as some of these other guys. Danny Scudero, go and get those guys. But first and foremost, you go and get the offensive line, because if you can just give Arch Manning time back there at the very least, man, I mean, that's just dangerous enough in itself.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think interior of the offensive line is the most important part of what we're going to be doing in the portal. You have Arch Manning and you have, improved weapons around him as far as wide receiver goes. You're going to have the growth of Khalil Lockett, Data McCutcheon, hopefully Jamie French as well. Hopefully you get Emmett Mosley more and more incorporated into this offense, because he's shown that he can be trusted.
Yeah, he's good.
But he can, yeah, absolutely. If you improve the interior of this offensive line, Arch is going to kill it through the air, for one. But for also, when you have Arch Manning's legs that you have to worry about and defend, I'm not saying that whoever the running back is just naturally going to kill it. Like, it wouldn't matter who was there. Like, if we put Nash back there, Nash is going to run for 1,700. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but everything becomes a lot easier for that position. Let's say it is a Christian Clark who is, RB1, which is probably not what the case is going to be. I think he's going to be a very competent running back too. Hope, if that were the case, but man, everything would get a lot easier if you could build that interior, that offensive line. And so, yeah, I mean, there are some really attractive names out there at running back and at wide receiver as well. But at the same time, wide receiver is such a dang important position in modern football. And a bona fide stud like a Cam Coleman, who can go up and win a 50-50 ball in the red zone. He can catch it, but I can't say it. But, he big play potential, great route. I mean, there's nothing about him as a wide receiver that wouldn't be a pretty big upgrade compared to the current room. So, yeah, not trying to talk about too much about one guy that, Texas may or may not get.
I know.
There are other suitors that may be just a little bit more in need or more desperate. Yeah. And some of them may be rivals. And so, yeah, it could be a very fluid situation. Who knows exactly how that plays out, but he would be a big add. And I don't blame you at all, Michelle, for saying like, hey, I think we should just lay it all down for Cam Coleman. But we're going to keep going with this. We'll keep playing a little bit about the budget maybe, but also just talking portal, talking Texas, Michigan here in just a little while. If you've missed it, Parker Livingston has officially made it clear he will be entering the transfer portal. Let's hear a word from our first sponsor tonight, Mr. David McClellan.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
And welcome back to Inside Texas. It's our Thursday night live, talking Parker in the portal, talking everybody in the portal. It officially opens tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be madness.
You
saw Lane Kiffin and the LSU essentially draft day board setup that they had there at Baton Rouge.
I did not see it.
Go look at it, brother. Go find it right now. It's awesome. I mean, this is as close to professional football as college football has ever been by a pretty good bit. So curious to see how it all plays out. Again, Texas will not be the only suitor for some of these really, really big names. Things can change overnight. All right. Money matters. And so you really never know how all these things happen. We know these guys are all represented. And again, one thing I want to talk about is when Texas pulled A.D. Mitchell, or Adonai Mitchell, as he prefers to be called, from Georgia, nobody really was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, we were happy about it, but we didn't really know, in my opinion, we didn't really know how good A.D. Mitchell was. You look at Matthew Golden. You're like, man, Matthew Golden could come in and be a really solid number 2, maybe the best number 3 in America. But he was clear-cut number 1 by late November. And so I said earlier on the Rewatch show that I would love to see Texas, making your point, Nash, find some value out there. Find a guy that maybe we haven't seen him play his best football yet, but you do a really good job in your evaluation of said prospect. He comes at a price where maybe – you could get 2 of this player for a Cam Coleman or for one of these top end talents that will be in the portal. North Texas is back. Is going to be very sought after, and he's going to be a very capable back. I believe that's Hawkins. So there are some really good value candidates, I'll say, and I'm curious to see how that looks, because the fans are going to react to the big names, the massive names, and when we don't, or perhaps not get them, there's going to be, borderline revolting, like there always is. People are going to be up in arms a little bit. Wow, Texas is not serious about winning. I thought we were all in. Texas is being going to be very aggressive in the portal, and they are, in my opinion, they are going to be all in. So curious to see how that plays out. Tomorrow feels a little bit like Christmas almost. I hate to say that because it's just a crazy time for college football, but it's going to be wild. All right. So, all right. We've talked about running backs, not near as much as wide receiver, but have you guys seen any tape? Have y'all watched any of Louisville's Isaac Brown? Is that a person that you would want Texas to go ahead and potentially make a running back 1? Or you still think maybe swing a little bit bigger there?
I've seen a little bit of it, and I'm tempted. It's intriguing.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it looks great. So I'm like, sign me up. Add to cart.
I did a whole preview show, on the personal channel coming into the season. We do a whole prediction show. We break down everything. And I had Louisville in the playoffs, actually. I had Louisville at 11-1 and getting in the college football playoff. And Isaac Brown, Chris Bell out there, wide receiver, were a really, really big part of that. Again, I will say this really, really quick. There has been no news of, about a particular Florida Gator running back entering the portal. That's still not entered for what it's worth, just to answer that question. But yeah, I mean, where to go? The comment, somebody said it right up here. We'll find it. There it is. Garrett's on a roll. Brown has got all types of RB1 potential. I don't care what conference it's in, the ACC, SEC, go play overseas. It don't matter, man.
You can run, brother.
Yeah, dude can play. And he's willing to get in there and be physical. And again, he's got some home run speed, with that as well. He's got good hands, catches the football well. So got a lot of the makings of a back that could really, really help Texas. And this is what we're talking about, and again, no one's in the portal as far as the first name mentioned here, but like let's take some value, you know what I mean? Because it's not like we just need guys on the offensive side. We're gonna have to work on the defensive side as well. We got to add some depth there. You still want to be a team that plays a 15, 16 game season, you know what I mean? And so you need to have depth, which is another reason why, hey, maybe you don't go all in, and it's going to be fascinating to see all this play out. I cannot wait. But all right, any other portal thoughts before we move on and talk about Texas kind of drubbing Michigan yesterday?
I would say, I was going to say, when you're looking at the offensive side of the football, I think with the the moves that we've seen with starters leaving, right? Like, I mean, there's all the rumored stuff with Trey Wisner. He's not on the plane. Doesn't it feels like this staff knows they have options and they're okay with those options that are out there, and it feels like it doesn't feel like this is like a Penn State or Michigan where we're firing guys without knowing who we're bringing back in. Like, it feels like, okay, we have our list of candidates and we know that they're better than what we currently got. So we'll allow these moves to be made.
And one note, you brought up Danny, who, was an amazing wide receiver that, of course, Texas had front row seats to see how good he was in person. And I feel like that's something that the staff always does each portal season, is like a player who played really well against us, they'll be like, oh, you're mine now. Matthew Golden was that. So I'm like, maybe Danny will be that for us. There's a couple other players on Florida that aren't running back position or wide receiver on the defensive side that I'm kind of like, I feel like they have them circled. Eric has been alluding to that on Inside Texas as well. So I'm curious to see if there's any other players, like maybe somebody from Georgia would want to follow Muschamp here, So I think that there might be a few surprises who maybe people who haven't even entered into the portal yet from other teams. So It really is going to be like Christmas Day tomorrow. That's how I feel about it. I'm pumped.
That's really well said, because Sarkisian has been really good at pulling out something that we had no idea was coming. You know what I mean? It's been the case not just for last portal cycle, the years before. And so I've Rude Wayne, appreciate you watching. I do see your comment down there. I have speculated on the same regarding that certain player. I definitely have, considered the fact that everybody else has kind of decided and announced that they are returning, but he hasn't. We're just not going to talk about him unless he does indeed get into the portal officially. Real quick, I mean, Ingrid brought it up. We got to bring it up. There's Michelle over there, Nash down there, me here. Same amount of points combined that A&M and Tech scored in their 2 playoff games. I would be honest. I know the Tech D was good, but I was pretty dang impressed with them today. But good Lord, about as bad of an offensive outcome performance as you could have hoped. Baron Morton had a really, really, really tough one. So, yeah, we might have been hate watching for home, but we had a hell of a hate watch.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't hate watching Texas Tech. I
wanted them to win. I'm not gonna lie.
They're like, I don't get why people don't like Texas Tech. Like, I do get it, right? The whole the Big 12 runs to Lubbock and all that stuff, right? You expect them to do that. That's like getting mad at Texas for politicking to make the playoffs at the end of the year. So, look, at the end of the day, I mean, Texas Tech, they've never beat us 3 times in a row. They've been a nothing burger when we're playing them. They've never really been a real rival. When we have Thanksgiving games versus Texas Tech and Baylor, we're like, I mean, this is terrible. Where's our real rivals at, right? We got our real rivals back. I will never cheer for them a day in my life. I will never root for Oklahoma. I'll never root for A&M, and I'll never root for Arkansas.
I'm sorry. Underrated thing is David Bailey. He was so good, and he visited Texas. So that also gives me hope for our portal season, because our staff, they know how to evaluate who's good in the portal. But Tech just was willing to give him whatever he wanted and more. But he was amazing. He's a demon.
Did that with a few people.
He's a really, really, no kidding. Yeah, he's a tremendous player. Fun to watch. Definitely manhandled multiple Oregon Ducks throughout that game. It was pretty fun. Chris, you have a comment right here that I like a lot. Imagine 20 years ago, a portal season opened up after what Vince Young went and did in the Rose Bowl. And imagine, again, Texas was pretty loaded. Probably could have improved a little bit at wide receiver. Running back, we're pretty set. offensive line were pretty set. But imagine people watching Arch and thinking like, man, I could be a part of what they're doing there, and I could be a part of his even further development and further growth into the next season. If you don't think that weighs on a few kids' minds and decisions in this portal cycle, I really do think you're crazy. I genuinely believe the Arch Manning effect, the Arch effect that we all talked about when he got recruited here, and guys like Derek Williams and others were committing to Texas shortly after. I bet we see it now.
I mean, individual success follows team success, right? Mm-hmm. And it's one of those deals where if I'm Steve Sarkisian, my recruiting tape is, hey, I'm going to put on all these drops and I'm going to say, can you catch that? Because if you can catch that, you're going to the league in the first round, Bubba.
Yep.
First
round. I'm showing him Arch's legs and saying, hey, buddy, you might see a lot of soft zone coverage. You might have a ton of room underneath. But maybe we play Michigan and they run more silly man defense against Arch, and he's just able to quick read it and just dart down the field like he did multiple times yesterday.
You want to run zone reads with Arch?
Yeah. You want to come be a part of our screen game, our deep game, and also have the defense worry about, potentially a new RB1, Christian Clark, and then Arch's legs. Like, you can start to see how easily everything can come together with this offense. Still work to be done. A lot of busting your ass in the springtime when it comes to practice and getting ready. Like, you got to do the dirty stuff. A couple of interior linemen, maybe a big wide receiver. Obviously, we know we're already, it sounds like we're pretty active or pretty aggressive at the running back position. Man, it could be fun. All right. Again, we'll see. But yes, so when everybody is kind of, oh my gosh, there's trouble in Round Rock. When a guy enters the portal for Texas, keep saying, be careful what you wish for. I'm just saying, be careful out there. Bama, man, they did look bad. I'm not going to post what you said about Bama on here, Mr. Michael, my business, but yeah, they look pretty dang bad. Again, I was very confident in Oklahoma beating them, but Oklahoma laid an egg, let Bama back into the game. And then once somebody has a bit of an answer for Brent Venables' defense, Brent seems to kind of just lose his confidence in game calling and calling plays, and I don't know. It's just odd. Not a lot of counters once somebody's kind of figured out what was going on. Yeah, but I'm going to post this one, Michael. I appreciate the super chat, man. We hate Tech because of Crabtree. I mean, I definitely get that. I was there, section 22, about 20 rows up. We'll never forget it. Was threatened a lot of times that night, just literally for wearing burnt orange. The funniest thing that's ever been said to me at a college football game was when I was walking out of the stadium, and obviously we're down, we just lost, heads are hanging. We're not in a good place. And this young lady walking by and is freezing that night in a very short red dress and nothing more than that, throws up throws the guns up and looks at me and my buddy and it says, "Get your guns up, B word." And I was like, you know what? I can say nothing. I can say nothing in that moment. Got completely owned in Lubbock, Texas that night. But since we've left Tech, I mean, I don't have the same disdain for them that I do Oklahoma or A&M. Yes, Chris Jackson is and has been re-signed to a 2-year extension. I know that some fans aren't thrilled about that. We've had a lot of talent, pumped into this wide receiving room, but the play of the wide receiving room must improve. And I think, again, you'll see continued additions to the talent in that room. And I definitely, I get it, Marquise. We got a lot of fans that are happy Tech lost, especially the way it played out, the way that it did. But I want to see a good college football game. I need Georgia Ole Miss here in a few minutes to be a classic. Give us something good here. Tired of people complaining about the college football and where we're at. Now the playoffs are ruined, yada, yada. Give me a little something more there. But all right, guys, we're going to go to our second sponsor break of the night, and we're going to come back and we'll get into Texas and Michigan and just how it all happened and what we took from it. Here is a word from Luxe Kitchen and Bath.
Are you ready to love your kitchen and bathroom again? Luxe Kitchen and Bath will bring that to life. Luxe has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Luxe Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring your dream vision to life. But that's not all. Luxe's all-star team also provides full home remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Luxe Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUXE today, or visit luxekitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get your free quote today by calling 833-358-LUXE. That's LUXE. Or by visiting luxekitchenbath.com. Contact info is in the description.
All right, I do have to bring this up, Mr. Johnny Jackson. Nothing could be as lame as a Red Raider. I say the same thing about Aggies and Sooners all the time. I mean, they're up there, don't get me wrong, but my brother coaches for a high school version of Red Raiders, so I'm not going to slander his high school mascot right now. I definitely get it. Y'all hate Tech, and that's completely okay. Joe McGuire is a little bit much sometimes, but I mean, they are committed to spending the money. I wouldn't be shocked to see them kind of run the Big 12 for a bit, to be honest. But all right, Michelle, you had plenty of takes about Texas and Michigan. Let's talk offense first, just for a minute. Obviously, it was the Arch show. We saw what 16 could do with his arm. Numbers and are going to blow you away at passing. I think 21 to 35 for 221 maybe. But when you consider that he had at least a half a dozen drops in there, and then ran for $155 on the ground, it's easy to see who the superstar was. But talk to us about the guys outside of Arch Manning. Is there anybody that really caught your eye in the way that they performed? And then that you're maybe excited to see, in 2026, which we know there's, we don't know about some guys, but what are you thinking?
Obviously, I've already talked about him, Christian Clark. I was so happy for him because, coming back from an Achilles injury is really intense. And he was kind of thrown into the fire because of all the running back injuries early on in the season. And he clearly just wasn't ready for it. And it was really exciting just seeing him take that opportunity to remind the Texas coaches, like, hey, don't forget about me when y'all are portal shopping. I'm still here. And he's now like over a year and a half removed from the Achilles injury. So, that one is just, you need time. It almost takes a full 2 years. So I was just really happy to see him. He looked amazing. And then Khalid Lockett as well. He had a couple of, I think he had a penalty for holding, but then he came through when he was needed most. And it was one of the most impressive catches of the year, his touchdown catch. It was amazing. So that gave me a lot of hope too. Another player who's kind of auditioning like, hey, don't forget about me when you go portal shopping. So those two guys for me were my heroes of the game on offense outside of Arch, of course.
No, Will said, and Nash, the question was just, who did you see outside of Arch Manning? Because we talked a lot about Arch. We know what he did. Who did you see outside of Arch on the offensive side of the ball that you were really impressed by, or just pleasantly surprised even?
Yeah, it sucks because we lost him in the game, but Emmett Mosley kind of really reminded us, hey, I still am that guy, right? I'm still. You're gonna want to keep this one on the team, and I would say Christian Clark had an amazing day. That was really fun to see. Mm-hmm. I put out a little joke meme saying him and his agent talking where they're racking up the money. I'm not saying he's gonna be holding Texas hostage or anything, but brother just earned himself a nice little New Year's Day bonus, maybe a little bit of extra cash or something. I don't know. I'd reward it, but. Man, seeing him, that gives me a lot of confidence because, I've said it before, I have a lot of confidence in James Simon to actually go and be a good running back down the line. And, if we can go get a legit running back and then have Clark and Simon behind him, man, that gives me some confidence in this next room. But I also I would hate myself if I forgot to mention Nick Townsend jumping over, bringing back the Gunnar Helm hurdles. I love to see that. That was some fun. But, yeah, Arch Manning pretty much stole the show on the offense, and there's not really too much to talk about outside of him.
Yeah, it's Arch Manning, it's Christian Clark, and then you start talking penalties and you talk about drops. Those are the big themes of the day. Texas still found a way to win by 2 scores. And so credit to Arch and credit to the defense who really kind of stepped up their play, got the football turned the football over several times there. Listen, putting the horns down doesn't make me mad, okay? No, but I'm a firm believer in the curse. Mm-hmm. And Bryce Underwood, after the very interesting touchdown, touchdown where he dropped the ball, but we couldn't tell.
So it looks like a horns down. It was a Michigan M because I was looking for it in the every play. He didn't do the horns down. I'm giving him credit. He has 3 fingers down. He's doing. Okay.
The football gods.
Now there was the entire team decided to huddle up on the sideline and start doing horns down.
Football gods don't like that. They don't like that.
Yeah, I don't want Underwood getting some smoke that he doesn't get, because I have many people asking me that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, I thought I saw it, and again, still a little bit of a 2-day vacation, so I haven't got to watch the All 22 yet, and that was going to be something I was kind of hoping to see, and then I haven't watched every play also. So again, the way that Texas kind of woke up in that second half, the physicality, the energy, everything there about that second half on defense was pretty dang smooth. Again,
yeah, I mean,
Seam Rouse.
Underwood did start talking. He did start barking at the team. And that, immediately, that's when you get Roberson. Roberson comes in and just absolutely lays the wood.
He was great.
It was close to targeting. I think that all this nonsense about everything that's close to targeting has to be targeting. Like targeting, I think targeting is like, it's like the definition for a certain corn thing. You know it when you see it, right? that's targeting. Targeting makes you go, oh, no, we got to get
everything is targeting. Nothing is targeting. That's my stance on it. I still have no clue. I mean, I think I do, but I clearly do not. I would have thought that would have been a really soft targeting call on Warren right there. But yeah, he came up and laid some wood there. Really, really aggressive. Again, a guy that's been maligned a little bit at times this year, especially in the penalty department. He's had some kind of silly ones, very undisciplined penalties. Focus was high yesterday. The guy really played well, and you credit that for sure. And again, I'll talk about Christian Clark all day. I feel like my son just went out there and bawled. I'm a proud dad out here. I've been screaming his name for 18 months. We did a show again on the personal channel last year where I was like, I think Christian Clark's going to be the starter by October. And then the very next day is when he had the Achilles injury. And so I feel like I owe him. I feel like I almost cursed the guy myself. But so, no, it's really great to see, again, the burst. That's what you talked about, Michelle. Mm-hmm. All right. These guys are all pros. They know how to find a hole. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when you have injuries and all of a sudden you don't have that same juice, that can mess with you as a runner mentally, to where, hey, what you've seen with your eyes isn't really there, because he looked very indecisive early in the season, very hesitant, did not have a lot of bursts through the holes. There were times where he had opportunities to hit holes, and sometimes he's juking the other directions. And so we talked about that as well a little bit with Ian. He kind of compared it to, pressing the wrong button on Madden, and then, like lateraling the ball backwards. He was like, so if we get that version of Christian Clark, which again, sounds like he had a couple of really good weeks at practice. And so they probably made their decision on where he stands in that running back room previous to this. But I'm sure, think about Sark and what he sees out of that running game with Arch and Christian both. And all of a sudden, that, again, like I said, that alone starts to make life a lot easier, get a little better on the interior of the offensive line. And, you're cooking. And that's without even talking about adding another portal back. I will say, Nash, parroting your thoughts, I loved what Emmett did before he went down. Very, very confident out there. It's just really smooth. He's so smooth it almost looks like he's not trying. And so, that's a good issue.
Natural.
Very, very natural. He doesn't panic. He's calm, cool, collected. It seems like at all times. And again, need to have him healthy. Make sure you're keeping up with Inside Texas over there on the boards to, whenever news comes out about Emmett and that injury. But talking about Jack injuries, I see a comment right there. It really is. You see what Texas looked like in the second half against A&M when Jack injuries was a little bit of a focal point of that offense. Obviously, it's mixed in with a ground game. You can run the ball. You run your play action. Tight ends are always going to eat a little bit. You got a good tight end. That's a good recipe to get them loose, especially in a Steve Sarkisian offense where there's all types of leaks and crosses, delayed routes. He's really, really creative in how he uses that position. And Jack Andrews is a guy that needs to be in the fold next year. But pretty dang excited, like you said, Nash, about the athleticism of a Nick Townsend and how good he could become in a very, very short time as he continues to develop further in the passing game, understanding route running, and how to use his body, how to run clean routes, how to be deceptive there. So,
absolute psychopath when he's blocking. That's another guy. Like if I'm trying to bring in Isaac Brown from Louisville, I'm showing him. I'm putting together some tape of Nick Townsend running into the hole, and I'm saying, hey, you're gonna have that in front of you, dude.
will say real quick, Chris, Ty Anthony, I thought was pretty great. I mean, like, was he perfect? No,
Yeah.
he's still asking to do more than he's been asked to do all season, and did a pretty good job. Michigan definitely attacked the middle of the field very, very often in the passing game, and he had a great drop on the cover 2 trap blitz that led to his first interception there. And so I saw a comment further down about Ty Anthony getting cooked all day. Like, he wasn't perfect, but man, he did have a great game, especially look at the stat sheet. You know, he led the team in tackles, had some 2 picks. Definitely proud of that guy, man. Again, a guy that Texas flipped from A&M pretty late in that process, and I just had to bring that up for no reason at all. It's just fun to say out loud. This is what we were talking about, the explosiveness. So Clark looked like he had more juice in his, than we've ever seen, because, obviously he got hurt before we got to see him as a freshman. But that's what his tape looked like coming out of Mountain Point High School in Arizona. Really good one-cut ability, but he made that cut. He got upfield. I mean, from the first play, I think all of us were like, all right, we might have something here in our guy. He may be back. So excited to see, his natural progression and who you pair him with. This is a fun stat to look at. Isaac Brown against a very competent Miami front seven had 115 yards, 7.5 yards a carry, and helping Louisville be, upset. Miami was one of their 2 losses on the season. So, yeah, there is something in the water, man. We know Miami got some dogs. And I will say this, I hope Mike Irvin's doing okay this afternoon. I'm sure, or this evening. He's probably not waking up until now. Hopefully a lot of the buildings in Dallas that he visited are still standing. But
I do also want to, before we move on or anything, man, I really want to shout out Cade Phillips. I know, like, he had a very similar game to Ty Anthony Smith, where it was not perfect. There were moments that you're like, yes, you want to get this cleaned up. He had 8 solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and then 1 deflection. I mean, like, he had some really good moments that you can point to and say, hey, there's a lot of stuff that's there. And then you lose Kobe Black as well early on. I mean, like, man, I thought Cade Phillips had probably one of the best games for a guy that people were like, man, he's having a bad game, right? He had a sneaky good game.
I thought the defense as a whole, the fact that there was a new play caller, a lot of changes in the staff and things like that, a lot of guys stepped up. I mean, and with, 7 or 8 starters who were out for the game, I mean, it was really cool to see. I felt like even though they weren't perfect, every single guy who was on the field was giving it their all. And to me as a fan, like, that's all I want to see. I want to see guys being aggressive, going after it. Hero Canoe had a play. He got a flag for it, but I was like so happy for him, where he just like pushed Underwood. I think it was after the turnover. And after the game, he even commented on it. And he was like, yeah, I was just so happy to finally beat Michigan. And it just like made me so proud, because our guys were just fighting so hard, flying around. So again, even though it wasn't like the best defensive performance ever by any of them, it was still just really cool to see them all out there just playing for the Burnt Orange. It was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get told all the time that these games mean nothing. We shouldn't care about this. And I was told by Texas fans, why do you care about this? I said it on Inside Texas leading up to the game. A really good opportunity to use that for momentum, to use it as a springboard. And I said it last week. I don't know if it was with you guys or who I was with, but I said it's an opportunity for Arch to go show out and attract some guys to say, oh, I can play with that. And sure enough, that's kind of what we had happen there. So, no, I think that's a really good take, Michelle. I know people are like, oh, yeah, of course we're excited to see them, fight hard. Well, you don't always see that in bowl season. Again, that's not really anything that has anything to do with Texas's or Steve Sarkisian. We always kind of go out and compete. Maybe save a trip to Gainesville or 2. We competed, just not well. But at the end of the day, I definitely was really, really happy with just the overall energy of that second half, the commitment to defense, the commitment to running the ball a little bit. And it was overall just really, really fun to watch. And not just for a Texas fan, not just for a Michigan fan. I mean, I feel like a lot of college football fans had a lot, maybe more fun than we're seeing on some of these playoff games here. I mean, truth be told. But yeah, so
you mean blowouts? These blowouts?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
whoa.
There have been. We're due. Maybe tonight the Sugar Bowl saves us. We've got to 0-0 game in the first. I think that Ole Miss is about to get it after a Georgia punt. But so maybe we see a classic. You know what I mean? Because let me tell you, Indiana and Bama, that was a beat down. Tech and Oregon, that was a beat down. And we're due.
What do you think about the 4th and goal? 4th and goal. Let's call timeout and push it in.
For you, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Oregon. Oregon, 23 seconds left on 4th. They had it 4th and goal. 23 seconds left in the game. They call timeout to stop the clock so that they can push the ball in the end zone to make it a 23-0 game. I mean, game's over. Game's over no matter what. You can just kneel it out and go home.
I was watching on mute. I didn't even notice that there was only 23 seconds left,
It's
or
the
that they
exact
called a
opposite of
timeout.
start. It's the exact
It
opposite.
really is.
I mean, honestly, a Lanning versus Sark game would be hilarious because it's like two good offensive minds, but with just polar, could not be further away in how they want to finish games.
I'll make, we got one other comment about it. Nash, you did bring it up. Cade Phillips, I'll say this. There was one more comment further up in the, I think he's going to be a huge benefactor of, not playing super soft on 3rd and longs. We gave up it was third and 17, I believe. And we played so soft coverage. We gave up an easy 15-yard, a deep poke, if you will. I mean, an easy throw and catch, setting up a 4th and 1 in which Michigan does convert. Man, we're going to see a lot less of it, in my opinion. But again, I think Cade Phillips played really, really dang well. He has just all the natural tools to be an elite cornerback, especially at the collegiate level. He's a guy that's going to very much likely play on Sundays. He's still a young guy, so I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, and we've only seen him for the last half of the season. But the trend line for Cade Phillips is, it's been pretty fun to watch. Girth, I want to bring this one up. Jeff Banks is in hot water as far as he's concerned. Special teams is a wink link consistently. He got out-schemed off the headsets yesterday on kick returns because Michigan threw a couple of different wrinkles that clearly Texas was not ready for. Y'all have any concerns about special teams in the future? Is this something you think, Bert Auburn just got the yips last year? Oh, we just gave up a few kick returns this year. What are your takes?
On the post-game show, I think it was Paul brought up that Michigan had hired a brand new special teams coordinator, like right before the head coach, was canned. And so I think that we just didn't, we probably didn't even know that they would be doing new looks. Like we probably went off of whatever they had been doing throughout the season. So it's like, of course, you want every detail to be perfect in these games. But at the end of the day, I feel like Jeff Banks, every year we have a really good returner. There was Silas Bolden, Xavier Worthy beforehand. This year it was Ryan Niblett. He's really good at getting those guys. I think going into the portal, Mason Shipley, he was nails. I was really happy for him hitting that 52-yarder. Punting was better this year too. I mean, if you give him the guys, I think he's good. I think it was just there were some wrinkles that, like you said, we weren't expecting, and it's because they had a coaching transition, things like that. So I'm a little bit higher on Jeff Banks than I think most people are, though. I'm a fan. I feel like he's aggressive by nature. Sometimes I hate that, but at the end of the day, like I talked about with the defense, I'm never going to knock them for, being physical, being aggressive, things like that. So I think I feel good about our special teams next year.
What about you, Nash? Any concerns?
No, I'm not really worried about Jeff Banks. I mean, I think that it's easy to, see some of these penalties, right? And really it's a lack of discipline. But I would also say that that was probably more of a team-wide thing than just a special teams issue this year. When it comes down to, I've seen more kick returns where we have a chance to score with Jeff Banks than we did the previous 10 years. I've seen us have a chance to legit chances to get there and get home to make a block, right? Yeah, it does suck when you're an inch off from the ball and then you do contact the punter. But you're just going to have to accept when that happens. I like the aggressive nature that we have with him. I'm not really that worried, but to kind of what Michelle said, I think that he does have a really good idea of the right returners, getting the right guys in those opportunities. Like you got bring in Golden, get him returning kicks. Like there's some obvious things, but I also go back to we never had Devin Duvernay returning punts or kicks at Texas. And I don't think that would have been an issue with Jeff Banks, right? Immediately Devin Duvernay goes to the Ravens. They're like, wait, this dude's got hands. He can run like a running back. And why is he not returning punts? Right?
The guy that should have absolutely murdered it on special teams. He should have absolutely. And again, he ate as a wide receiver.
He should have NCAA records right now.
Mm-hmm. He should have been a guy as a freshman and sophomore before he really got incorporated into that passing attack. He should have been a guy that was living and just eating on special teams. Really, again, Jeff Banks is a really good recruiter. He is pretty good at scheming up punt returns, kick returns. Again, you see less and less kick returns. Sark would have loved Evan Duvernay, like you're saying, man. Like you both keep talking about, like absolutely, that is a very fun pairing. But yeah, kick coverage, man. You got to be better there. You got to set your defense up. You got it first. Just get a kicker who kicks the damn ball out of the back of the end zone. All right, let's make that happen. You know that we were using a walk-on kicker yesterday, so that does affect it a little bit. Again, you have a lot of opt-outs. Special teams is going to be the first. It's kind of hit by the opt-out bug when that does happen. So it is what it is. As you're pulling guys from your special teams units to fill holes, maybe on offense or defense. And so, yeah, I mean, not concerned, but definitely you would like to see a year where it's like, oh, this is Mac Brown's-esque special teams under Texas, and again, somebody commented earlier that we've kind of seen, there it is, block punts have kind of disappeared under Banks. We blocked a pretty good bit of kicks, it felt like, early in, Sark and Banks' time at Texas. And I definitely think that, they've been close a few times. But yeah, we've fallen off a little bit there, for sure. David, you're my guy. You're always on the show. I've got to pop your comment up here. Ty Smith received the most praise of any Texas defender due to the picks. However, Cade Phillips may have played the best game. Yeah, I mean, Cade was great. Cade was awesome, man. Ty, Cade, I thought Grayson was pretty dang good, but I thought Jelani coming down and playing the middle part of the middle zone of that Tampa 2 defense a lot and being really physical in the middle of the field. Sometimes he gave up stuff, but he was thumping. And then he's down there to help in the run game. Ian talked a little about Texas really not just respecting the Michigan run game at all, coming into this, which is a little bit shocking because that was where, honestly, my biggest worry was. It's like, can we stop Michigan? Can we set the edge enough and contain Michigan and Bryce Underwood? And they got us on some zone read stuff just like Arch got them. Well, not as much as Arch got them, but we'll see. Again, a lot of positives. It wasn't a perfect game. But a positive, I left out Wardell. Wardell was great. Again, it's good to have him and continue to have him in the fold. Alex January.
I mean, there's a lot that you can keep on going down. Like
Bo Barnes, good.
They get great. And the best part about all these names that we're talking about is let's talk about the ages of these guys. That's youth, baby. That is youth. It's good to get them
ages of players that are not leaving. Yes,
and again, for the people who are like, oh, bowl games don't matter. Well, just. You might be an idiot in my mind. I'm sorry to be blunt, but it matters. You got these guys that come out there and get reps. You have 13 practices that you get to go have, and some teams really use that, to good. And so I think Texas has done that. You could tell that Sark was excited for this game. I don't know if we really had the whole we missed a playoffs chip on our shoulder, but man, they really did come out on all cylinders in that second half. Played a pretty complete half of football, outside of penalties, but hey, that's who we are. Unfortunately, it seems
that was who we were this year. I'm hopeful in the off season we can figure out what's causing that and reel it in.
Well, that's gonna. Any final takes, comments, concerns before we get everybody out of here and we all finish Ole Miss in Georgia? What hopefully is not another blowout.
Texas, on the note that we just had, Texas was 132nd in penalties, so let's turn that around. And
well, that means there's at least a couple teams worse than us. I believe there's 134 teams, so we're not dead last. Yeah. 136.
We're not the worst.
Even better. Keep feeding me that great news. But no, I mean Texas. Again, the portal opens tomorrow. Texas will be a very aggressive. It does feel like a little bit like Christmas. What gifts will be under Texas's portal tree? Excited to find out. But hey, guys, make sure you run over to InsideTexas.com and take advantage of the transfer portal ultimate fan bundle, 50% off. You get all the goods, all the deeds. Come hang out with Eric, Justin, Ian, Nash, myself, everybody over there, having a good time always. I gotta get better at commenting. I kind of just lurk and I don't get on there and comment enough. Nash, you too. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. And hey, Gareth, I hope you're right. I hope that's the case and that you get to add us I want you to be right. I want Joshie Manning to be right. He donated $5 for this channel today. He deserves to be right. Texas deserves Cam Coleman, and Joshie deserves to be right. Girth deserves to be right. But all right, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please throw a like on the video. Go share it with a friend. It's been a lot of fun. My first season here with Inside Texas, so definitely sad, a bit sad to have the season wrap up, but definitely an honor to be here with all these guys. And thanks to Michelle and Nash for joining me consistently here. You'll see them in the future. Y'all have a great night and hook 'em.
We're good.